And back behind those horses, I Am Unstoppable. Osmosis at the clock tower, led by a length to Shinzo, Arkansas Kid, and I Am Unstoppable is running on. The leader, Osmosis, with 50 metres to go. Osmosis is clear and will take it out.
Ladies and gentlemen, punters of all ages, it is here. It's Christmas for punters. It's the race that stops the nation. It's the Melbourne Cup. Cashy, joined by Nick. How are you, mate?
Doing well, man. Sunday afternoon, we're here, getting ready. We're hoping to get a lot of listeners for this one, so very, very exciting. But yeah, we won't touch too much on yesterday, Golden Eagle. We will say we had a pretty good day.
Yeah, we had a fantastic day. Looking forward to unpacking that on Wednesday's pod.
For sure, but this is all things Melbourne Cup. We're going to go through runner by runner, mate, sort the pretenders from the contenders. We're also going to give a quaddie for Flemington, as well as how we would spend $50 on the day.
Yeah, so basically, this is all Cup Day. Everything Cup Day, all historical facts you need to know before going in and making your pick. Who can win and why? Who can't win and why? What are some other horses that you want to be betting on around, the Flemington card, other than the Melbourne Cup? I'll say now, probably not many, because traditionally it is a terrible day's racing outside of the Cup, but the quaddies as well. We'll also be talking about the Melbourne Cup sweeps that we're going to be running this year. We'll touch on that in a couple of minutes. We're going to be looking at everything from the weather to the jockeys to the trainers, literally everything. This is your one-stop shop for everything Melbourne Cup. And boy, oh boy, am I looking forward to unpacking it with you, mate.
Yeah, I'm keen, mate. I'm keen. I'm ready to get into it.
Well, I mean, yeah, let's not wait around. Everyone is here to know, who do I need to back in the Melbourne Cup? But I will quickly mention, if you are just one of those guys that likes to just enjoy an office sweep, we're going to be running some Mock Sports Melbourne Cup sweeps. They're going to go live tonight at 6 p.m. So if you're listening to this on Monday before 6 p.m, get in quick, because we're going to be selling tickets for 24 hours only. There's going to be 5 $10 sweeps, and then there's going to be one big dog $50 sweep. So you can buy up to 5 tickets in the $10 ones. You can only go 1 ticket only in the big dog sweep. If you don't know what a sweep is, essentially, you buy a ticket, we're going to allocate you a random horse, and then all the money goes into one big pool, and then it pays out first, second, third. Okay? So at 6 p.m. tonight, you're going to be able to go to the Mock Sports social media, at the Mock Sports on Instagram. You're going to be able to click a link, fill out your form, tell us how many tickets you want. We'll send you a link to pay, and then once you've paid and confirmed, you're in. After 6 p.m. Monday night, you're going to get your ticket allocated to you. And then, yeah, all eyes are going to be on the Cup, and our eyes are going to be on the Cup. So now, mate, let's get into it. Okay?
Keen.
No Melbourne Cup preview can be started without some important things, and that's weather, stats, and speed map. So that's what we're going to touch on first. First things first, the weather. Boy, oh boy. Melbourne apparently can be anywhere from a good 3 to a heavy 12 on Tuesday. It was a good 3 yesterday for Derby Day, but there is a predicted, well, some people predict 50 mils of rain falling on Monday, with another 20 on Tuesday. Some are saying there's only 20 mils on Monday, none on Tuesday. Some are saying that there's none on Monday, none on Tuesday. But there is going to be anywhere from 10 mils to about 70 mils at any point between Monday and Tuesday on Melbourne. So I've gone ahead and looked at all of the weather reports, and I'm just going to make a guess of soft 6, okay? Because a lot of the weather reports are saying not much rain around on Tuesday, so Flemington drains quickly. If it's a drying track, maybe we'll start very heavy, and then it'll start to dry out throughout the day. I've done my predictions on soft 6. Is that similar to what you were working with?
Yeah, for sure. And I think if you're not going to listen to us in what we think, we'll give you a bit of rundown of if we think it's a chance and what the kind of horse is like. And to put it simply, a lot of these international horses are going to like a bit wetter than our Aussie horses, I think. So
yeah,
put it simply.
This year you certainly need to make sure, do they like the dry, but also do they like the wet? Because like I said, rain might not come. It's Melbourne, and it could end up being good 3. But if the rain does come, I don't think we'll be super heavy. I think we're probably just going to be in that soft range. Okay, so make sure to keep track of that. Other things to keep track of: if you are a a superstitious punter with your historical facts. These are all historical facts that you need to know, punters, if you're into that sort of stuff. A favourite has not won the race, Nick, since 2013, and in the last 20 years, only 3 have even finished in the top 3. The number 4 Saddlecloth is the most successful in history with 13 wins. So if you're into that sort of stuff, Vauban's looking very good with there. This is usually a boys' race. Only 17 winners in history have been a female horse. This is a young horses race. Only 15 horses over the age of 6 have won in history. The lighter is obviously the better. They're going 3,200 metres. A lot of these horses have never run that far, let alone with this much weight. So the lighter, the better. Only 2 horses in the last 35 years have won carrying 57 kilos or more, and only 2 others have even run in the top 4 carrying that much weight. So if you're now a Riffa punter, that might be a stat to look at. Sorry. The last time a horse actually won with 59 kilos or more, 55 years ago.
Wow.
So our Riffa punters are really going to have to consider that. The weights were raised though. Minimum top weight used to be 58, now it's 59. So this 59 is now technically 58, 57's used to be 56, but still 58 kilos. The last time a horse won with that much weight was Makybe Diva. So it doesn't come around very often. Barriers 5 and 11 are the most successful barriers in history with 8 wins apiece. And barrier 18 is the least successful with only 1 win in history, that being Very Elegant. So mate, we know the stats, we know the weather. Before we get into a speed map, we need to know the field. So please take us through it, mate. Take us through the market.
You have got Riffa, you've got Buckaroo, you've got Arapaho, you've got Vauban, Chevalier Rose, you got Presage Nocturne, Middle Earth, Meydaan, Absurde, Flatten the Curve, Land Legend, Smokin Romans, Changingoftheguard, Half Yours, your favourite, more Felons, Onesmoothoperator, Further, Parchment Party. I always get this wrong. Athabascan.
Good.
Yes. Goodie Two Shoes, River of Stars, Royal Supremacy, Torranzino, and Valiant King. I like this field. It's I feel like it's a lot better than the last couple of years. You've got some good internationals coming over from everywhere around the world this year, which is awesome to see. You've got a United States horse, which we'll touch on in a little bit. You've got a couple coming from Europe as well, and then obviously you've got our Aussie ones as well. So it's a good field, and I'm looking forward to unpacking it.
It's a good betting field as well. First time in a few years we actually have a favourite that is each way odds, which is what it should be in a Melbourne Cup.
For sure.
Half Yours, $6.50, and I think it's $2.40 to place. The last few years we've had, your Buckaroos, your Incentivisers, your Vaubans, who have all been, $4, $2, $3. Like, it's good to see that, you've got in that field, mate. Like, what's the next after Half Yours? Would it be our Riffa up there in number 1? How much is our Riffa paying?
$8.50.
Yeah, so
you've got Valiant King at $8. I think will be the next top one after Half Yours. So.
Which is fantastic.
Yeah,
this is a nice traditional heavy betting Melbourne Cup that if you want to go a favourite, at least you're getting some value for it. Okay, should we go through the speed map, mate?
Yes.
So the way that this is sort of set up, it's very hard with the Melbourne Cup guys and how they're going to set up, because obviously a 3,200 metre race, they all have their chance to really find their spot. But best guess is that, your Smokin Romans, your Changingoftheguards, your River of Stars are going to be up towards the front. Your Goodie Two Shoes, our Riffas, Arapahos, also probably going to try and push forward from their barriers, as does Athabascan, Vauban, Chevalier Rose, and Further. And then now, these midfielders and backmarkers could really end up sort of anywhere and stretch out. But your Meydaans, Half Yours, Land Legends, Absurdes, Parchment Party, Royal Supremacy, Torranzino, and Middle Earth are more predicted ones to be a part of that middle pack. And then the chasing pack made up of Buckaroo. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. That says Buckaroo twice on that graphic. That's a typo from me. The one in the very back, that is Valiant King. Valiant King is meant to come all the way from the back with your Flatten the Curves and more Felons, and then your Buckaroo, Presage Nocturne, and Onesmoothoperator to be just in front of them. So, we've seen the field, we've seen the speed map. Now, let's do it, mate. We'll start off with the number one horse, the Big Boom International for this year, our Riffa. O'Brien trains. Mark Zara rides out of barrier 19. 59 kilos on his back. $8.50 to win, $2.90 to place. Pretender or contender?
Contender. Just want to touch firstly, Mark Zara is flying at the moment, he can win a Melbourne Cup as we've seen in recent years with Gold Trip. So he knows what he's doing. He's been there before, and he's flying at the moment. So that alone is something to look at. But Genuine Chance coming from Europe. As we know, the Europe stayers usually dominate down under. In really good form this prep, falling out of the trifecta once in 5 starts and having 2 wins in there as well. Has only run 2,800 meters that's the longest it's run. Look into that if you want to, but I don't think that's much of an issue.
Look, his best is obviously enough to win this race, but is he going to be able to run his best with 59 kilos on his back in potentially wet conditions from the 19th barrier? I am not so sure. He has a winning combo with O'Brien as the trainer and Zara on his back. Both know how to win this race. His form back home's outstanding. He's proven he can run long distances with big weights. I think he can certainly run top 4. You can't leave him out of your exotics. But my gut is telling me it is just too tall of an order. First up in the country, massive weight, wet conditions, sticky barrier. I know the weights have been raised, so this would have been 58 kilos. But like I said earlier, even then, nobody's done that since Makybe Diva. I'm happy to be proven wrong. But I'm going to say our Riffa can't win this race. I'm happy to be without him, and I'll be the first one to admit it if I'm wrong. Pretender.
Well done.
Number 2, Buckaroo. Chris Waller trains. Craig Williams picks up the ride after Sir Delius scratched out of barrier 12. 57.5 kilos on his back. $9 to win, $3 to place. Contender or pretender?
Contender. What a spring he's having. Exceeding expectations for sure. Definitely for me. Second in a close Cox Plate behind Via Sistina, which I don't think a lot of people really tipped. And second behind Sir Delius, and we know how far that form is going as well. So has the run of the distance and should run it really nicely. Contender for sure.
Yeah, contender. Last year I was really hard against Buckaroo as he was very short and I thought he had an average setup, and as such he ended up a mile back and was never really in the race. Plus, it also didn't really look like he ran out the 3,200 metres. The camp said that it almost ended his career because just how gassed he was, and it's taken a full year now to get him back to his best. So will he run out the 3,200? That's the big query. But I'm going to go back in history here, and I think this tells us that he will run it because Chris Waller's a smart man. He knows how to set horses for certain races. Very elegant. 2020, she goes through the Caulfield Cup and she wins it. She then runs 7th in a Melbourne Cup by 3.85 lengths, carrying 55 kilos. 2021, she comes back around again for a second time, but this time she went through the Cox Plate and she came a narrow 3rd, arguably could have won the race. She goes into the Cup carrying 57 kilos and she wins it. Buckaroo last year came through the Caulfield Cup. He came 2nd. He then goes on to run 9th in a Melbourne Cup by 3.5 lengths, carrying 54.5 kilos. 2025, he's back for his second crack. This time, he goes through the Cox Plate, comes a narrow 2nd, arguably could have won it. Jumps up to 57.5 kilos. It's genuinely almost identical. It's a proven formula. He gets Craig Williams. He's a grand final trainer, Chris Waller. If he stays the 3,200, he is right in this, so you have to have him in your numbers, in my opinion.
Fair enough.
Number 3, Arapaho. Bjorn Baker trains for Rachel King to ride. Barrier 15, 56.5 kilos, 51 to 1, 10 to place.
Pretender for me. I just don't think we'll get it done. Or an exotic play there if you want. Not for me personally. Will get the distance and has won at the distance before if you want to look into that, but I think it's a pretender.
Can't entertain a 9-year-old winning this race personally, especially with this much weight. Has similar form lines to Knight's Choice last year, so there's something if you really want to entertain him. Plus, he's probably one of the country's most consistent stayers who will like the wet conditions, so he doesn't have a huge amount of negatives on paper. I just think his ceiling is top 10, so go shopping for those top 10 markets. I just don't see him winning. Number 4, the horse that has been the talk of the town for the last 3 years, Vauban. Blake Shin rides, Waterhouse and Bott trains for the first time. He's here, acclimatised, and he's not coming from Europe first up. He comes out of barrier 2 this year with 56.5 kilos on his back, and he's paying $26 to win. He's not the boom favourite this year. What are your thoughts with him?
Contender. I like it a bit better. He's got the eyes off him now, and not that the horse can really tell, but the jockey's got less pressure. It's just better set up. But definitely one of the better rougher chances in the Cup. Definitely hasn't met expectations so far in Australia, but I think he's set up really nicely for the Cup. This spring hasn't been winning, but hasn't been running very poorly. I think he's been pretty sound in most runs and should be well set up for this one. Everyone was gassing him up a couple of years ago and last year, of course. But now with a couple of years under his belt, I expect him to go a lot better. Ran well at the distance, and he's proven. Barrier helps out a lot, can settle pretty much wherever they want. And last year's Melbourne Cup, I thought he ran pretty soundly. So I'm going to go Contender.
I've got him as a pretender here. History says he can't win. No horse has won their third attempt since the 80s. No horse has won after 2 unplaced efforts since the 50s, let alone a horse doing it with this much weight. He will like the conditions because he prefers it wet. He also won't melt in the yard like he has the last few years. He's finally gotten time to acclimatise to the Aussie conditions, but he's just looked slow this prep. We officially labelled him a fraud, and I mean, history says he can win now, since we said that he can't win. I'm saying that he can't win, and we've said that he's a fraud. So, I mean, he'll have a lot of people on him. We are the mock, so we've probably mocked him to a win here. I'm sure he's going to be in your numbers. I think he's only a top 10 chance.
Fair enough.
Number 5, the Japanese horse Chevalier Rose, out of the Shimizu camp. Damien Lane rides, barrier 5, 55.5 kilos, 41 to 1.
Pretender for the win. Major exotics play that I'm going to be having a look at. Japanese Radar, who has won at the 3,600 meters, so we'll get the run. Giving major warp speed vibes from last year. Snuck and can sneak his way into the exotics and boost those trifectas or first fours for everyone. So I won't be saying for the win, but I'd be including in all your trifectas and exotics for sure.
I've got a similar attitude to you here. I don't usually write the Japanese off, especially after warp speed last year. But yeah, pretender for the win, but could certainly sneak a top 4 run here. Like you said, he's going to get the distance. He's won over 3,600. But since that win over 3,600, he's been beaten a combined margin of 35 lengths. He's also untested in the wet and is 8 years old. So he's got a lot against him when it comes for the win. But yeah, I will not be surprised whatsoever if you see him flashing through and running a placing or a top 4, much like warp speed, because I mean, warp speed hadn't really done a ton in the lead up to the Cup last year, and we saw what happened. So we move to number 6, Presage Nocturne. Botti trains, Pasquier rides out of barrier 9. 55.5 kilos on the back, $8.50 to win, $2.90 to place. Contender or pretender, mate?
Contender. Looked like he travelled very, very nicely from France and ran very well in the Caulfield Cup, finishing 4th and was storming home. Will only improve with another start in Melbourne. Proven stay with multiple wins at long distance and carries heavy weight back home as well. Likes it as well if we're getting that wet conditions, which it's looking like it will. So definitely a contender.
The more I look at this horse, the more I like him. Strong contender. There's been a stack of overseas raiders who have come over here through the Caulfield Cup and gone on to win the Melbourne Cup. His Caulfield Cup was electric when he finally balanced up, going around the tight turn. He closed off like a rocket. Just screams a horse that's going to love Flemington and really gets to stretch out. Like you said, the wetter the better for him. He's one of these horses that, actually will prefer it wet. Weight will be no issue. He carries that weight all the time over home. I mean, the only negative, really, would be the international jockey sticks. And international jockeys rarely win. There hasn't been one that's won since the early 2010s. But, I mean, if there's ever a horse for them to win one, I think this is it. He just needs to make sure they don't get too far back on him. Like I said, he'll probably be towards the rear of the pack. And his closing speed is strong. But is it strong enough to make up 20-plus lengths? Because some of these times in the Cup, they stretch way out, and there's 24 horses. Obviously, if he ends up 20 horses back, is he going to be that good to run them all down? I'm not sure, but if he stays in touch with them, God, bring on the straight for Presage Nocturne. As we move to number 7, Middle Earth, Kieran Mayer trains, Brown rides, 13th barrier, 54.5 kilos, $34 to win. Pretender or contender?
Pretender, I thought a little bit disappointing in the Caulfield Cup, but improved nicely in the open race at the Valley last week, carrying a heavy 60 kilos. Exotics play at best, but can't see him getting it done through this field.
I really wanted to have him as a contender after speaking with owner Tom on Wednesday. But now with the rain forecast, I think I have to put a line through him. If it was drier, I certainly would have him as a sneaky each way chance. But his wet form and staying form doesn't read all too well. I hope I'm wrong for Tom's sake. Happy to have him go round without me. As we move to number 8, Meydaan, the Crisford team trains. J-Mac has jumped on board here. 54 kilos on his back, $17 to win, $5 to place. Contender or pretender?
Pretender. Disappointing in the Caulfield Cup when a lot of people liked him. Liking other imports a lot better this year and just can't find any markets for it. 22nd barrier really doesn't help as well.
Can't find any markets for it. You wouldn't even entertain a top 10?
Well, you can't say that for every single horse. You can't just go out and say, yeah, do top 10 for every horse. So I'm going to leave it out of mine.
Fair enough, mate. I mean, out of the Caulfield Cup, this was the only horse off the first viewing that I was really happy to follow through with. Obviously, I've found them all since going back and dissecting replays. But off that first viewing, I was happy to stay on him because I was on him in the Caulfield Cup. And so my eyes followed him every single place he went. And while I was really annoyed at the ride, because, geez, shit ride, just everywhere, from the barrier that he had and the way that he jumped and settled really well towards the front, how he ends up third last, 5 wide, the turn, is beyond me. But, I mean, internationals, jockeys, man, what can you say? But much like Presage Nocturne, once he balanced up, Presage balanced up much quicker than him, but once he balanced up, he closed off really nicely, and it was another one that screamed, get me to Flemington. J-Mac jumped on him, and J-Mac's confident in his chances. He won't mind the wet. I think he can put in a really strong run. The down point is that 22nd barrier, but it's not impossible to win from there at all. They've had winners before. I think more of a place chance than a winning chance, but he can win without surprise here, Meydaan. As we move to number 9, Absurde for the Mullins camp. Kieran McAvoy rides, out of barrier 4, 53.5 kilos, $23 to win. Pretender or contender?
Contender for me. Hurdler comes round for another run. There's just something about the hurdlers that come to the Cup that I really like. If you don't know, they pretty much proves they can get the distance. They run very far and
yeah.
They
With
carry
a lot of weight as well.
They carry so much weight. So he's won a 3,200 meter hurdle event not long ago, carrying 73.5 kilos.
There you go.
Raced soundly in the Caulfield Cup. I thought finishing 7th. I'm going to give him a chance here, contender.
Fair enough, mate. But I've labelled him as a pretender here. A horse that had a great flashing run in this race for the last couple of years. He ran 7th in 2023. He ran 5th again last year. But again, much like old travel mate Vauban, history says that's enough to pen him right here and now when it comes to no horses won third crack, no horses won third crack without running a place in a very long time. But that's not the reason I'm penning him. I'm penning him purely for the fact that he comes here for a third time around, which means he's another year older. He's been allocated another higher weight than his last 2 performances, which just makes it really tough for him to win. Sticky-ish barrier. A lot of people go, oh, inside barriers, that's good. But in a cup, such a long race with such a big field, it can actually be quite sticky to be on the inside there because you can get blocked off. You can get shuffled towards the back. I think he's a must for your exotics because every single run he's gotten better in the last couple of years. He stays all day. He likes the wet. I'm happy to say he won't win. Happy to be wrong. He's going to be a pretender for mine. Number 10, Flatten the Curve. The Guru camp trains with Hammer Hansen to ride. What a name. If that isn't the best name ever, I think his name's Theodore Hammer Hansen. That's like one of the greatest names of all time. Barrier 17, 53.5 kilos, $26 to win. Pretender or contender, mate?
Contender for me, purely off the fact he can make the distance and a proven winner at the distance. I think it says a lot in cup form for horses that can get the distance and have won. So I just can't rule him out. So it's a contender for me.
Yeah, he's drawn poorly, but it's got to be the only negative you can find with him. Great form. He's going to stay literally all day. He can get it done in all kinds of conditions. He profiles as one of those horses who comes over here but doesn't really have big raps on him, like our Riffas of the world. But then he just runs a sneaky top 6 and then all the people come out and crow, yeah, well, I had him. He was my winner. Like, if he comes out and wins, you're going to have half the people going, oh, geez, how did we not find him? And then the other half's going to be like, you're an idiot. He was always going to win. So yeah, he's certainly one to be watching late here, Flatten the Curve. As we move to number 11, Land Legend, Chris Waller trains. Yow, the Magic Man, jumps on here out of barrier 16, 53.5 kilos, paying 100 to 1 though. Pretender or contender?
Pretender. Hasn't shown much in a while. Past his best.
He's done absolutely zero all prep to suggest he's going to be winning this race. But again, so did Knight's Choice last year. So crazier things have happened. I'm not yelling at any horses this year. I'm not having that happen to me again. I just can't see this horse being anywhere near the finish. Number 12, Smokin Romans. Kieran Mayer trains. Ben Mellum's going to ride, I believe, at a barrier 11, 53.5 kilos, another 100-1 chance.
Pretender. Same reasons. Land Legend hasn't done well in a while. Came second earlier in the prep, but yeah, not a great chance.
I made headlines calling this horse a pretender a few years back when it was in Cup season because it was one of the hot favourites, and he ran like shit because, in my opinion, the horse is just no good. But again, likes the wet. Does he get the distance? I'm not sure. But I mean, if it ends up being a really wet track, I mean, could maybe run a top 10, but that has got to be his absolute ceiling. Would be surprised to see him win. And I can't wait to see him win now that I've said that. 13, Changingoftheguard. Timmy Clark rides for Chris Lees, 53 kilos, 100-1 as well.
I find it funny. No matter who you say is a pretender, you just back it up and say they're going to win now, just to cover yourself.
Well, I cop enough abuse out there. I just want to make sure that people aren't knocking on my door like they were last year.
Changing in the guard, pretender. Worst barrier doesn't help at all. However, dropping 6 kilos when he has run decent at the staying distance. Don't see him getting over the top of them. Exotics if you really wish, but I'd be playing a top 10 market if you can find it.
As soon as the weather reports came out, his chances were done. The nail in the coffin was the 24th barrier. Good thing is, shouldn't have to burn too much petrol. Like, I mean, there's not a lot of speed in this race, and obviously they all get to their spot. No one really gets, caught wide, unless the jockey was caught napping. You know what I mean? So he should be able to get to the front. But does he have the engine to lead this field for that long? I say no. So pretender. Now, number 14, Half Yours. We come to the field favourite here at $6.50 to win $2.40. The McAvoy camp trains. Jamie Mellum rides, looking to be the second female to ever win the Melbourne Cup after being the first to win a Caulfield Cup. Barrier 8, 53 kilos on its back. What are your thoughts?
Contender, looking unreal at the moment. In great form, obvious favourite. Can't leave him out.
Gee, you really going to be that much to the point, and you're going to?
There's not much to say. Man? Like, obviously, you've got Caulfield Cup winner, great form. It's running really well. A lot of people are going to be on it. You can't rule it out. That's what I think.
Fuck, just makes me look sillier because I'm going pretender. I'm doubling down. Look, I'm happy to admit that I got it really wrong in the Caulfield Cup. I was the first to admit it, and I'll be the first to admit it here if it wins. But because of recency bias and the fact that it happened a couple years ago, everyone's like, oh my God, it pissed in the Caulfield Cup. We're getting another Cup stubble. It's happened 12 times in history. It doesn't happen that often, guys. It happens on average once every 15 years. Okay? Maybe it happens. But history says that it doesn't.
Bro loves history.
Okay? I do love history. Okay? So it's not easy to do. Plus, the horse has been up forever. I think it's been up since March. Like, it has been up forever. Like, surely at some point it's looking for the paddock. Will it even get the distance considering it's never even gone close to the 2 miles? Another huge query with this horse. The good thing for it is it's in a ripping form. It's drawn well. It loves the wet. So it's going to get every chance. And I think it is a must to have in your exotics. But I just think that there is enough against him to say that he won't win. I think it'll be a great effort from the trainers and the riders to get this winner. It'll be an amazing story. They'll make movies about it. He'll be, the people's horse forever and always, and he'll be walked out for every cup to come so the little kids can run up and pat him, the people's horse. But I'll be stoked for them if they win. I'm penning him. I just can't see it backing up and doing the Cups double. Pretender.
Fair enough.
Number 15, more Felons. Chris Waller trains. Tommy Berry rides. Number 20, out of barrier 23, 53 kilos, 51-1.
Yeah, pretender. I don't really like the form lines coming down to Flemington from Sydney after racing in some of those staying races in Sydney. I think there's some better chances in the race. Outside barrier doesn't help. Love to see Tommy Berry get it done though.
Likely gets too far back to make a realistic shot here because, like I said, if some horses, if they get 15 to 20 lengths back, they might have the motor to be able to run them all down. I just don't think this horse does. But by all means, he gets through the wet and he gets the distance, and just sometimes that's all you need. So if you're entertaining him, I won't call you an idiot. I just have him as a pretender. Number 16, you have Onesmoothoperator. The Ellison Camp trains with coffee riding out of barrier 6, 53 kilos, $19 to win.
Yeah, contender. Last year's Geelong Cup winner. Didn't run very good in the Cup last year, but looks like it's come over to Australia with some good form, winning that first up run. So I'm going to go with it again as a contender here.
Yeah, contender. One of the better chances in the race in my mind. Everyone knows I love a bit of Moonee Valley Gold Cup form. Very much so a great profile for the race as one of those ones that come back for their second crack. We've seen that be a successful formula time and time again. Plus, he seems to love it in Australia, so much so they're keeping him here after this one.
Yeah, cool.
So the only thing is, if it gets too wet, you might want to put a pen through him. And that's not just me saying it. Even the trainers have said he goes like a busted Toyota in really wet conditions. So he'll be hoping more that it's 10 mils that are dropping, not 70 mils. The drier, the better for him. If it's, any better than a soft 5, he's in it. If it's anything worse than a soft 7, count him out probably. As we move to number 17, further out of the Balding Camp, Mickey D rides. Barrier 7, 52 kilos, $23 to win. Nick, what are your thoughts?
I'm going to go pretender here. Can't give every horse contender. Doesn't love the wet either. And I just think there's better imports going around. So it's going to be a pretender for me.
Yeah. I've gone pretender here, but I will say this. If he sticks around for the next year or comes back over, he could definitely be a big chance then. Biologically only 3.5 years old. And sometimes those real young horses run really good. Sometimes they run really shit. Doesn't have any wet form as well, which is a query. I think he will run a really good race and everyone will be asking how much he's paying for next year. Top 4 is his ceiling. I just don't see him winning. But yeah, I'll be interested to see if this horse comes back for a second crack. Number 18, Parchment Party, Mott Camp Velasquez rides. Barrier 3, 52 kilos, 51 to win. This is the one we've been really interested to discuss. The American. We don't see him very often. And American dirt horse as well. Yeah. Crazy setup. What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, pretender for sure. Hasn't run on... It's run on grass, I think, but hasn't won. And it's run very poorly on it. I just think this is the stubbornness of America to think that they can bring one across and win it. Pretender for me.
Yeah, it's cool to see him here, and he's a dirt horse, like you said, hasn't won on grass. So obviously, the drier the better, and he won't be getting that. He'll get the distance, which is sometimes all you need to run a good race. But God, it'd be a good story if he did win. I just don't see it happening. Pretender. As we move to number 19, Athabascan for the O'Shea and Charlton Camp. Bates rides out of the very first barrier, 51.5 kilos, $91 to win.
Yeah, pretender. Good form in the Gold Cup, I guess. But yeah, I just same kind of thing. It came down a bit earlier, but before that, it was running so averagely in Sydney. And if I'm ruling out more Felons, I've got to rule out the same. So.
Yeah, the one big positive for this horse is we'll love the wet conditions. But I think from that first barrier, probably finds himself a bit stuck and his form's all right, but probably not enough to be winning a Melbourne Cup. Happy to say pretender here as we move to 20. Another import here, Goodie Two Shoes. O'Brien trains, just like our Riffa, but Lawton rides with the European jockey coming over instead of signing an Australian jockey. Barrier 20. 51.5 kilos, $41 to win, $10 to place.
Contender and my leading roughie chance of the race.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. Really like the form line. Proven winner, won at the distance multiple times. Oh, sorry, once. Placed it as well. But I like the way it's set up, and I think it's one of the better imports. That barrier's the only real query, but at the end of the day, it can get it done. It's carrying barely any weight, where they usually carry a lot heavier over in Europe. So it's going to go well, I think. So $41 is a good price, and I will be putting some money on it myself.
I'm saying contender, and it's very similar to Onesmoothoperator here in the sense that even the camp has said she will have very little hope if it's closer to that 50 mils. But if it's closer to the 10 mils, she should be fine, and she's in it up to her neck, in my opinion. History says girls don't usually do well, but she gets in with feathers. She's going to stay all day, like you said. Can easily see her running top 10, maybe even top 6. And you know what? Like you said, certainly wouldn't shock me to sneak her through for a placing or even a shocking win. And I feel like, again, it's going to be one of those horses where half the people go, oh, how'd they find that? And then the other half say, well, it was there all along. Goodie Two Shoes, a contender for me. As we move to another girl, River of Stars, number 21 for Chris Waller and Bo Mertens, 14th barrier, 51.5 kilos, $16 to win.
Tough one here. I'm going with Pretender. Just another horse that it ran really well in the Caulfield Cup, coming second at big odds as well. But I think that was its best run in a very long time, and I just don't see it getting it done, in my opinion.
I think the odds have flattered her off that Caulfield Cup run. I would have her closer to $20, $30 more, similar to how a Royal Supremacy, who we'll touch on next. So I do think she's unders, but I mean, you can't knock her off that run, drops to feathers on her back, and you can't knock Roller. She goes all right in the red. Oh, I got an Irish accent there all of a sudden. She goes all right in the wet. So she can certainly run well without surprising. Her form previous to the Caulfield Cup suggests she really should be a longer price though. So I wouldn't be betting on her. I do think she's unders, but I think she can run well without a surprise. Number 22, Royal Supremacy. Kieran Mayer, Robbie Dolan rides looking for 2 straight cups. 21 barrier, 51 kilos, $34 to win.
Pretender, exotic chance, but I just don't think can win the race. Better form lines from Sydney here, which I don't mind. If it's going to travel from Sydney, it's got to be winning, and it was winning pretty nicely at the staying distance. Running pretty solid in the Caulfield Cup as well. So I don't think it can win, but I think it can be real up there and you can have a play. But the barrier doesn't help either. But it's also carrying feathers. Maybe this is why I got the Irish accent.
Shit barrier. But quite honestly, I think it's the most forgotten horse in the field. It would be surprising to see Dolan win 2 straight, but since that win last year, he has arguably been one of the more consistent stayer jockeys in the country. Runs this prep have all been excellent. He'll stay all day by the looks of things despite never going this far. I think he's a great each-way roughy chance, Royal Supremacy. I really, really do. As we move to number 3, Torranzino, this year's Geelong Cup winner. Out of the Peruska camp, Celine Gaudray sticks on. That'll be unreal to see her win a Melbourne Cup. Barrier 18, 51 kilos, $34 to win.
Yeah, Pretender for me. I just don't see it getting it done. And I like just better chances in exotic plays as well. So I'd be leaving this one out myself, but at the end of the day, it's your call.
Geelong Cup's always been a great form reference for this race, but I just don't see this horse winning. Maybe running top 6, but that has to be its max in my opinion, because this is a massive rising class here off that Geelong Cup win. And also this horse has massive distance queries, but like I've had to say for quite a few of these horses, we'll like the wet. So if we do get those 70 mils, maybe not the worst chance to run a cheeky race. I just don't see it winning. Okay, as we move to the final horse in the field, Valiant King. For Chris Waller, Jai McNeil rides out of barrier 10, 51 kilos. It's your second favourite behind half yours at $8 to win, $2.75 to place. Contender or Pretender, mate?
Contender for sure. Set up really nicely for this race, running a nice place in the Caulfield Cup. We'll like the wet, I think. We'll improve in the wet and carrying absolute feathers. Jai McNeil has won Melbourne Cups before. Can get it done. I think you can't leave him out.
It's a really surprising horse here. 6th in the 2023 Cup and then has done absolutely zero since until this spring. Out of nowhere, he's suddenly one of the best chances in this race. He's going to run the distance. He likes the wet. His form says he's going to be riding this all the way, and I really can see him in the finish, and I'm confident he's going to run at least top 8. He genuinely is one of the better, if not, I would say he's definitely top 3 local chances. I know he's technically an import originally, but now local. Yeah, I'm confident he runs a good race here.
Awesome.
So that's the field, guys. That's all of the runners and why they can win, why they can't win. Now we've got to boil it down to who is actually winning. So, Nick, who do you have on top? Who's your first 4? And if I gave you a pineapple, $50, how are you spending it on this race?
I'm going Vauban on top. I'm liking it a lot more. Blake Shin's got a lot less pressure on him this year to get it done. Second barrier can settle literally anywhere. Like I said earlier, $26 is a great price to have in the cup. And I like it. Plus, I need a couple of points in the tip off.
You do.
But yeah, Vauban for me on top. For my first four, Vauban, this is boxed. Vauban, Presage Nocturne. Sorry. Goodie Two Shoes and Half Yours.
Fair enough. If you had $50, how are you spending it?
If I had $50, I'd be putting $15 on the nose on Vauban, $15 on the nose of Goodie Two Shoes, and then what does that leave me? $20. I'd probably look into creating a same race multi in the top 10 markets with horses along the lines of obviously Vauban and Goodie Two Shoes, which I like, and then I'd probably include Flatten the Curve in there, Absurde, and Presage Nocturne in a top 10 multi if I can find it, and then I'd probably just last $10 just mystery tries or mystery box just to get some value in there because anything can happen in the cup at the end of the day.
Very fair enough, mate. So I've got Presage Nocturne on top. Quite a lot of people are liking it now as well, which gives me a bit of confidence as well. It's always nice to see that you're not the only one standing on an island liking a horse. Obviously, I'm no genius for finding it out of the Caulfield Cup the way it closed off, but since the barrier draw and since the weather reports, just everything seems to be falling in this horse's lap. The only negative is that European jockey, but I think if you can just put this horse in the right spot, it has the motor to run them all down. Presage Nocturne goes on top for me. My top four obviously boxed, but if I have to put it in an order, Presage Nocturne first, Meydaan second, Buckaroo third, Royal Supremacy fourth, but I will give a shout out to Valiant King, a very narrow stiff to miss there for fifth. If I had $50, what I'm going to be doing with this race is I'm going to be basically playing my top two horses because, as long-time listeners of the podcast will know, I've never picked the winner, but my second pick has won twice with Very Elegant and Without a Fight. So I make sure to cover the horse now. So I'm going to be going $15 each way on my top tip, Presage Nocturne, which leaves me with $20 to go $10 each way on my second pick, Meydaan. That's $50 spend, two horses that are great chances in my opinion. Maybe one wins, one places, or they both run a place. So I think hopefully if they both run up to scratch, you're going to be getting a profit there, as I often manage to sort of snag with the Melbourne Cup and my $50 stakes. But yeah, mate, is there anything else really to be saying? Maybe, well, Goodie Two Shoes, you're saying is your best roughie, like.
Yeah, that'd be my second chance, but I don't mind your horse as well. So
yeah, I would say my best roughie, like I said, probably Royal Supremacy. So, is there one horse that you're saying definitely don't leave out of exotics? Is that Goodie Two Shoes, or is there another horse?
Yeah, I'd say Goodie Two Shoes will get you some good value play if you want to add some stuff into some exotics. If you get a ticket with it in it for a mystery, I wouldn't be throwing it out. That's for sure.
Yeah, I'm saying a Flatten the Curve as the horse probably as the more rougher chance to don't leave out of your first fours. It might inject a bit of price in there, as they often do. You know, some $26, $30, $40, $50 horse always runs top four and then boosts that first four up. So yeah, there you go, guys. That is your Melbourne Cup preview. Before we touch on the Quaddie, is there anything on the day that you actually like other than the Melbourne Cup?
Yeah, there's a couple over in Sydney that I don't mind. Obviously, you've got the big dance running around, the shit dance, really.
Big dance. We need to give our tip for that for the tip-off as well, so give it to us.
I'm going with Headley Grange, tip it around the grounds. So $6 for me. Barrier just doesn't help, but last start proved everyone wrong getting it done with the barrier. So Headley Grange, barn dance as well. You got Gallant Star, which you have to tip if you think. And I also like Ozapenko in the little dance. So those are the three that I'll be playing at Randwick. But other than that, it's those three, and then a couple bets on the cup and staying away from the other races personally.
Fair enough. I know he carries a lot of weight here, but geez, if Gringotts is ever going to win a race, surely it's this one. That'll be my tip for the Great Spring Tip-Off as well for the big dance. And you're right, Gallant Star was the only one that I really was super keen on playing. at Randwick. If we're going to have any other bets on Randwick or Flemington, make sure to follow us on Dabble. Use code MOCSports if you're signing up. Gamble responsibly when doing so. But at Flemington, really, there is not too much that I'm actually really loving outside the cup. It's always a very dangerous day when it comes to betting, guys. I will warn you of that. But I do like Apulia in the 6th in the Ichiban plate. Won really nicely for us first up. I really do think that that's a great chance. It's interesting in that race to also see St. George. That was a cup runner last year. So, you know, do with that information what you will. But yeah, I really like Apulia in that race. And then if we go to, where is it here? The last race of the day, I don't mind Presage, the favourite in the last. But yeah, that is the Cup Day preview. Like I said, if you want to be betting on, we're the Quaddie Potty, and we almost didn't touch on the Quaddie.
I was waiting to press it.
Hey, take us through the Quaddie, mate.
Flemington Quaddie, it's obviously the toughest Quaddie probably to pick of the year, but it's probably going to be paying a lot if a lot of these roughies get up. So race 7 in the Cup, we've gone for our Riffa, Half Yours, Presage Nocturne, Vauban, Meydaan, Goodie Two Shoes, and Buckaroo. That's 1, 2, 4, 6, 8, 14, 20. Race 8, you got Burma Star, Sulik, Navy Pilot, and Bakash. That's 2, 4, 8, 10. Race 9, you got Surf and Bird, Dance to the Boom. She's got Pizzazz, Bossy Nick, 2, 3, 5, 15. And race 10, you got Sunshine in My Pocket, Sabaj, and Dola, Persian Spirit. That's 3, 7, 8, 12. $50 to get you 11.16%. But like I said, it's going to be pretty big.
It's the most bet on Quaddie of the year. Same thing. It's the most bet on Trifecta. It's the most bet on First Four. The pools are ginormous, and you know there's always a roughie or two that upsets it. So it's going to be a big payout, no matter what. If we manage to get it, like I said, it's going to be on Dabble. Use code MOCSports when signing up to let them know we sent you. But yeah, now is that all we've had to touch on? Almost signed off early there.
That's everything. Thank you guys for watching as always. If you're new here, check out our stuff. We do a podcast every Wednesday. We are coming to the end of the Spring Carnival, but catch us for the last couple of episodes if you like what you see. Good luck. Just be careful. It's probably the hardest day to win money on, especially I know a lot of people would have won some money yesterday.
Yes. On
some short price multis. But yeah, just be careful. It's they always try and get you on these kind of race days. So try not to bet too much and just gamble responsibly, which we like to say here.
100%. So Wednesday at 7 p.m, you'll catch us for our regular pod. We'll see you then. If you're interested in those cup sweeps, wait until 6 p.m. on Sunday night. You've got until 6 p.m. on Monday night or until they're sold out. But until then, guys, good luck for the cup.
See you guys.
And back behind those horses, I Am Unstoppable. Osmosis at the clock tower, led by a length to Shinzo, Arkansas Kid, and I Am Unstoppable is running on. The leader, Osmosis, with 50 metres to go. Osmosis is clear and will take it out.